welcome to another teacher talk session tonight. And tonight we are having our 200th session. Yes, and it's a great number for us, and I'm really happy about the number, and I'm also really happy about our guest tonight. We have a very special guest for our 200th session, and he is Chief Project Officer at MACENTA Publishing and Project Officer at the Global Schools Program, Sam Whittam. When he comes, we are going to start our live session with him, and we had a kind of a technical issue, I think. Just a moment. Yes. Right now, I don't have any problem. I think let me invite Sam to the live session. It's a technological problem we could have, but that's fine. I'm really excited for the session. I'm waiting for him to join. Sometimes it takes time. Okay, there's a problem. I'll invite. Here we go. Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
It's wonderful. It's great to see you, Sam. It's wonderful to see you.
It's fine indeed. We had a bit of a problem there. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. It's okay. That's not a problem. We still, we are doing this technological stuff, and sometimes we could have problem about it, but that's fine. All right. And I'm really excited about this session, as you know that our 200th session, and which is a great number for all of us. Before starting our conversation, I would like to say thank you very much and being my guest and accepting my invitation. Thank you.
On 200. It's an honor to be here with you. So.
All right. And I know that, Sam, we are all very busy, and I'm sure that you are very busy too. So, and if you are ready, we can start, can we?
Of course, please. Yeah.
Okay. I know about you, but maybe our audiences would like to know about you. Can you tell us about yourself, please, and a bit about your experiences too?
Sure. My name's Sam Whittam, Chief Project Officer at MACENTA Publishing. As well as that, I'm a Project Officer for Global Schools Program, which is the international program for the Sustainable Development Goals, encouraging those. With MACENTA, I work on the projects. I work on kind of like dealing with the writers, organizing and setting up projects, and then from taking that seed and letting it grow into a tree and helping it along the way, and then seeing it blossom. Before that, I was a teacher in Turkey. I've taught when I first came to Turkey. I taught in the language schools, and then I've taught in kindergarten, primary, and secondary school, in colleges.
Wow.
Obviously, going back before that, I was teaching English in South Korea for a couple of years. Then, obviously, before that, I was in university, and I always thought about being a teacher. There was always that call to me, that pull to me from university, and originally I thought that I would be doing my PGCE and teaching English literature in England. That was the road I was on, and then you stray from the road sometimes, and I ended up traveling to Korea, and then enjoyed what I was doing. Found that teaching English as a language was something I enjoyed, and came to Turkey and never left. That was 14 years ago.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this short brief about yourself. Okay, Sam, let's move to another question then. Would you like to add anything else, or can I know another question?
Oh, that's fine. We can move on, please.
Okay. Okay. So it's about yourself. My next question is about yourself. What was or were your turning point or points in your own education?
My personal education growing up.
Exactly.
Oh, uh, when when I was at school, the type of school that I went to in England was a very traditional, old-fashioned school. You know,
Oh,
uh, it was in the 90s, but it was kind of like it was set in the 40s. You know, we nothing like schools are now. I think we were always referred to as surname. I was just Whittam. The teachers
okay.
didn't know our first names, and we never had a conversation with our teachers. It was that very old style, and it it's not exactly an inspiring background for someone to want to be a teacher. That's the funny thing, that where I came from in education, it's not what it wouldn't be. Oh, this teacher inspired me. I want to be a teacher. There were some good teachers that I saw that, but I think we saw them more as the good ones. We saw them more as real people as well. We saw them more as flawed characters as well, like real people, instead of the other teachers that I grew up with were just figures, these disciplinarian figures. And probably when I first became a teacher, that was the in Korea, that was my image of a teacher. And
Mhm.
uh, my first day of teaching, and if I can call it my first day of teaching, it was here's a nice story. It may be something that people can relate to as well. It was 2008. I can't remember the day, but it was December 2008, and I just accepted the job in Korea, my first job there, and I flew out to Korea. I think it was a 12-hour flight.
Wow.
I was exhausted when I got there, and then I was told I need to get on a bus and travel 4 hours across the country. And I arrived in the middle of the night, and then I'm traveling across country in the middle of the night to the town that I was going to live in. And then after 4 hours on this bus in the pitch black, I couldn't see a single thing outside. And I finally get to the school where I'm going to work, and my apartment. The principal picked me up. It must have been about 6 in the morning. He picked me up and he took me to the apartment, and he said, "This is where the school is. This is where you live. Have a bit of rest, and then just come down about 9 o'clock and just have a look at the school, see the layout."
Wow.
And of course, I went down at 9 o'clock, and he took me to a classroom, and he opened the door and he said, "This is the classroom." And I stuck my head in, and there's students in there, and he pushed me inside and said, just meet them. Just meet them. And he just pushed me in and closed the door, and that was my first day. my first day of work went like that. And I did a full day after that as well. And so I was thrown at the deep end. There was no preparation, no, this is what we do, this is the book we use, this is how we organize our lessons. It was just in you go. And at the time, I hated it. I was, that first day, I was panicking, I was terrified. And then I look back at it, I think, well, maybe it was a good thing to just be thrown in, and it's that sink or swim. And it was useful for me, I think, that to push yourself in that situation. But coming from my personal education background, it was, as I said, it was different. I
Yeah.
experienced lots of different types of teachers, but there were some that were inspiring. I would love to have a story of the teacher that everyone remembers, but this teacher changed my life, like in the films. But
Wonderful.
I'm not sure if I do. I remember some teachers, but I'm not sure if it's in the same way. So,
I got it. That's by the way, that's really nice, and thank you very much for, giving this your background about it. That's really nice story that you tell us here about your turning points. Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much. All right, I'm sure that you had maybe a lot of turning points, but I think this is the great one, I think. Anyways, so you know that you've been in the teaching for a long time, if I'm not wrong,
yeah.
and as a teacher and an educator. And during this time, probably you've tried different techniques, methodologies, and strategies in your lessons, and you explain these strategies or techniques to the other teachers. and to make them better, of course. And when you think about all of this, probably you have a philosophy of teaching. What is it? What is your philosophy of teaching?
Yeah. I don't know. When it comes to teaching, I'm not going to say that I was the best teacher. I was probably quite a bad teacher, if I'm honest. When I left teaching, I saw other teachers. You know, when I would visit schools and do trainings, and I'd talk to teachers and teachers that I worked with as well. I worked with some amazing teachers that kind of gave me a lot of ideas and a lot of inspiration. And in terms of philosophy, and I think some teachers may be angry about what I'm about to say, but I think my terms are, I like to break everything down to the simplest term. And I think to myself, what is my role as a teacher? I'm here to teach English as a language. And what's the reason for that? There may be a disagreement. It could be exam success, or it could be so that student could go out and speak. Personally, my view is never, I'm just aiming for exam success. I go into a classroom as an English teacher and I want that student to speak. For me, exam success is secondary. So in terms of philosophy, I guess it would be that as a language teacher, we obviously need to be relatable to a student. We need to have that connection. It's difficult as a language teacher, especially as a skills teacher, because you have so many. I think the in terms of philosophy, it should be inclusion, relatability, creativity, and energetic as well, of course. Because of those hours, we have to be energetic. So in the simplest terms, that's how I would put it.
I got it. Thank you. And thank you very much. All right. So that's your philosophy about it. Okay, thank you. You know, Sam, can you hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. And you know that as an educator, or let's say the teacher in your career of tried, we all have different, the stories, all right, in our life. Sometimes we have bad stories, sometimes we have good stories, sometimes the failed ones we have, and of course we also have some success stories and something inspirational. Can you tell us one or maybe two success stories of yours, which is inspirational for all of us?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to skirt around the question again. I'm going to redefine the question before I go in. Just because success, it's just almost going back to what I just said about what the aim is, because success is based on that, isn't it? What's the aim, and so what's our target? Is it exam success? Is that our only thing? For me, success would be to have a student that was capable of what I was there to do, to have that student that would be communicating, and to have a student. From my experience, Turkey is a country where students remember teachers a lot. Like the teachers are very, very memorable, and I've got to the point. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or bad that I've got. Maybe it shows my age that when sometimes I'm walking around the town and things, and these adults come up to me, and they're university students now, but to me they look so old, and they come to me and they say, "Do you remember me?" And I often look and I say, I do. And but last time I saw you, you were in the third grade, and now you're in university. And like when they come to me and they speak to me in English, that's when I'm like, okay, that was success. That's what. If I was still teaching, that's what would keep me going. Like the 10 plus years later, students are still coming up to me and remember, but that I can actually see that what I've done or tried to do has worked with them, that they're still using the language, they're still capable of using the language. So for me, that would be success in terms of my teaching. And then obviously there's for my other side, my publishing side, the news side, we've had success as Magenta. With last year we won the Altons Award for our platform. and and to be,
Congratulations.
thank you, to be in it as a project officer, to be involved in content and to win that award, and to think to myself that this is something that people work their entire career and can't go near. But it's not just about that for me. It's more about that being recognized, that what we were doing was the right thing, that we were on the right path, that we're, someone else has looked at what we've done, the work that we've put in,
Mm-hmm.
and said, this is the right thing. So that was obviously a success in terms of recognition.
Yeah.
But my main one as a teacher would be, as I said, that students, I've left a mark in a good way, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. I got it. Thank you very much for the information that you have given us about this and tell us about your story. That's really important point. Okay, thank you. So now I would like to move to other questions, which is related to the company, the publishing company that you are working now. And if you are working at, as you mentioned, at the Magenta Publishing. So can you tell us about the Magenta Publishing company and what kind of company is it, and what is their purpose, and what are you doing there, something like this?
Okay, sure. I kind of just started, didn't I, just before? So Magenta has, and I have to check this. If
Yeah,
we can check this on the website later, but
of course.
because I often get the date wrong, and I think we're going into our 20th year now.
Wow.
I'm not sure. It's either 19th or 20th. Obviously, I haven't been there that long, but Magenta was first founded as a distributor for international publishers in Turkey. I think
Oh,
they were Macmillan's first distributor in Turkey. I think this is way before my time. And then after that, it became kind of like it was a publisher that would communicate with the teachers in Turkey. We talked to the schools and institutions, and we said, what do you need? What do you want? And it became kind of like a tailor-made publisher, because obviously every country is different. It's very difficult to say to students, this is what you're going to learn. You're going to learn about this, but maybe it's not relevant. Maybe it's not present in the country. So Magenta started publishing. They would create books, course books, skills books. And then when I joined the Globals platform, Magenta has moved more digital, online-based products now and apps, still edtech. And when I joined the Globals, as I just said, the platform that won the Eltons about the Sustainable Development Goals, it was just launching then. So since I joined, I've been working on that platform, on that product, in the first year working with the writers, with the outline and things like that, checking all the material. And then we got to the point where we're putting it into a platform, and then we're going live with that platform. So Magenta has been doing that, and the theory of Magenta is that it's about creativity. There's nothing wrong if it's creative, if it's different, if it's new. Often Magenta is kind of like leading the way. That there's a couple of slogans that Magenta uses, and
I see.
one of our favorite ones is, we don't follow trends, we create them. And so,
Wow.
yeah.
Nice.
So that, and with Magenta, it's obviously it's a great group of people as well, and it's great to work with. And I think that good environment to work creates ideas and lets creativity flow, and allows us to do these different things. So.
I see. Thank you. Thank you very much about the info that you have given us about the Magenta Publishing. Would you like to tell us anything else about it, or can I move to another question?
I think I've covered everything really.
Perfect then. All right. So that's
Apart
the
from
next.
the year, I need
Oh.
to check that.
I see. Okay, thank you very much, Sam. Let's move to the another questions. I really wonder it, and I really, wonder what are you gonna say about it. If I'm not wrong, you are at the Magenta Publishing. You are dealing with the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, if I'm
Yeah.
not wrong. And before I'm asking you the questions about it, can you tell us a little bit about SDGs here, and how do you support SDGs as a Magenta Publishing company?
Okay, so the Sustainable Development Goals, they set up, or they were 17 goals that were set up by the United Nations,
Yes.
and they're from 2015. They set these 17 goals in 2015 with the target to complete them by 2030, and it's to make the world a better place. There are each one of the goals, they're interlinked, and it's about teaching or living sustainably, creating a better place, a fair world for all. And over the last few years, it's really become a big focus of English language teaching.
Yes.
I think part of it is because, as I said, they were started in 2015, and it's 2025 now, and our generation, we haven't done a lot to try and hit these goals. Every goal has a sub-target, a sub-goal, and each one of those needs to be hit in the country before that goal can be knocked off. And there are websites where you can track how each country is doing, and on each one of the goals. And so obviously our generation, we've kind of dropped the ball a little bit, kind of passed it on a little bit, and now what we're trying to do with Magenta and with our platform, the Globals, we're trying to teach about the Sustainable Development Goals to those students, because they're the next generation. They're the ones that this will impact. What we're doing today will affect our children or our grandchildren positively or negatively. How we treat the world, how we treat society, the example we've set. And so the SDGs fit in nicely with English language teaching, because it means that we can teach critical thinking, we can teach empathy, we can do global citizenship, all in one, and we can teach about all these different places and situations. So Magenta has the platform, the Globals, and we teach each one of the SDGs there are 5 levels in the platform, and each level covers each one of the SDGs. And then also, as well as that, as you mentioned earlier, I'm for the Global Schools program. I'm a project officer on content for the Global Schools program, which I'm really proud about doing that. It's kind of like a thing that I was kind of honoured when they offered it to me. I was surprised and honoured, and we're working the content team at the moment. We're working on the case study, the case study 3, which should be out this year. And what we do with that is we highlight there are advocates all over the world. Turkey has a lot of advocates, a lot of mentors in the program, and each one of them is doing a project or something, and we're highlighting what they do in our case study. And so it's really, really nice, and it's nice for me as well. It's a personal thing that when I see a teacher from Turkey, when I see we get these reports coming in and we have to write about them for the case study, and when I see, oh, this teacher in Turkey did this, I'm like, oh yeah, that's Turkey. Turkey has always been a big country for the Global Schools program. And they have lesson plans in Turkish and things like that as well. But yeah, so the SDGs, obviously they have a lot of focus now, and they're very, very important. One of the things that when we approach these, we always say that it's not something that we can just kind of like teach in the classroom. It's not something we can happily say, this is our English lesson today, we're going to learn about responsible consumption. In the class, you're going to do some paper about it, you're going to watch a video, and then you're going to go home. What our aim was always, students learn about it, they discuss it, they see the problem, they offer ideas to solve the problem, and then they take those solutions outside and they really do something. They go out there and they make a change, they make an impact. And so our aim is to turn students from students into activists for change. So that's how kind of Magenta at the moment, and I'm kind of in this middle ground between all of them. I've got Magenta with the Globals and the Sustainable Development Goals, and the Global School Program with my role there. So it's become kind of like a passion for me as well. It's become a big part of my life. It's not just a work thing. You know, it's not just 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. It's every day.
I totally agree with you. And you have a really, the serious and very crucial, the role there, I'm sure. I'm sure about these SDGs. All right. So, and would you like to add anything else, or can I move another question?
No, that's okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So, you know that, do you live in Turkey now?
Yes, 14 years.
Okay. And as a city, are you in Istanbul, Ankara, or?
Kocaeli.
Oh, very nice. Kocaeli.
Yes.
It's a great city to live. Perfect. Okay, Sam, you've been living in Turkey for a long time and probably you know the situations. Do you think schools and private or government schools support SDGs in Turkey well enough?
Uh, well enough would be, we were hitting all the targets 100%. I think that would be well enough for me. That if we were hitting it, that would be perfect. But I think, as I said, over the last couple of years, the private schools in Turkey, they've kind of seen this, they've discovered the SDGs, and I think most schools around Turkey are doing something about the SDGs. Whether it's projects or they're teaching about the SDGs or they're getting their students involved, or as I said, the Global Schools Program, they're part of that. We have a huge number in Turkey of schools, institutions and teachers in the program. So there are some, obviously, because for me, the right number would be 100%. So I think there's still more to do. The private schools have taken it. There are some public schools as well. This often surprises people, but there are some public schools and there are some amazing public school teachers around the country that are really, really doing this. The projects that we've seen, the talks that they give and the things that they do in their classroom, and it's amazing that what they're doing as well. If all of the public schools were following those teachers' leads, it would be amazing. But there are, I think, if we look at the numbers, the comparison between other countries and the number of schools that are involved, in England, it's much, much less. It hasn't had much of a focus. Unfortunately, the SDGs and those kind of things, it's often seen in the West, in Europe, as one of those things for those other countries. Like where the developed countries, we don't need to think about this kind of stuff. And so I think the education department in England, they need to focus on it more. Turkey has, I think, and I think they're doing well. Especially, as I said, the private schools, there's lots of an uptake there, and we're working with lots of them, and the Global Schools has lots of representatives all over. So I'm a perfectionist, so for me 100% would be good. So there's still more to do. They're doing good.
I got it. It's really great to hear it, Sam, from you depends on your observations about it. Thank you. And you mentioned that you have a program and other things about SDGs. And what can you suggest to schools about it?
To introduce the SDGs to
Exactly. What can you suggest them? Or what actually, I ask you, what can you suggest? Or maybe it's generally, what do you suggest? And how do you help when they need help?
Yeah. Just this last weekend, I was talking about this. There's ESD, Education for Sustainable Development.
Exactly.
And there was a survey, and again, this is a global school survey that was done in the past, not recently, but there were 85,000 teachers took part in this survey. And over half of them, said that of those 85,000, they said that they wanted to introduce ESD. They wanted to have sustainable development education in their classroom. They wanted to do the SDGs, but over half of them said they didn't know how. They didn't have the resources. They didn't have the support. They didn't know where to start. These days, there are lots and lots of places to start. Obviously, I keep talking about the Global Schools Program. There's a Global Schools Program which has lots of resources. It has training for teachers. It's a 6-month online training course.
I
So
see.
they can teachers can register as advocates once a year. There are advocate cohorts, and
Mm-hmm.
so teachers can register for that. They do these 6 month online training, and they're given all of the supports, lesson plan, project ideas. So the Global Schools Program website would obviously be a good place to start. There's lots of resources and links from there about how to introduce the SDGs and ESD into the classroom.
Oh my God.
So we're lucky now that in the last couple of years there's a lot more resources than there used to be.
Ah, I see. There are a lot of resources that they can use it. I got it. Thank you. Thank you very much for all this information. And you all have this information on your website, Magenta website. Can I find
Yeah,
this?
of course.
Oh, okay.
We
Mm-hmm.
we
I
have
see.
we have the Magenta homepage, and then also we have the Globals homepage. And I don't know, maybe we can give links later. I'm not sure if I can give
Sure.
links here, but
Uh, if you just send me the link after the session, I can add, and so our audiences can reach there.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. But by the way, I think Sam, there is a question, if you can see it. How teachers can change theory to practice in their class by entrance of AI. But we will come to this AI topic later. Let's finish
Okay.
it, and then I'll divert that question to you when we come that point. Okay,
Okay.
and you we talk about a lot of things about SDGs, and I'm sure that as a Magenta Publishing, you are also supporting teachers.
Mhm.
And do you have any PD support for teachers? If you say yes, how can they contact you about it?
Yeah, we do as much as we can to support our teachers, and we do training throughout the year whenever, like teacher training, whenever it's needed, and we offer it as well throughout the year. So we track our schools. Obviously, if they're using the globals, we have to track them. We want to track them. Personally, I want to see what they're doing. I want to see what projects the students are doing because that's inspiring for me as well. So we offer these trainings throughout the year. We have a group from internal in the company as
Uh-huh.
well of trainers, as well as we outsource sometimes when there's specialists that we work with in the field. So more specialists than me. So we work with them, and we offer it throughout the year. And generally, schools, institutions, teachers can contact us and contact me and contact my office, and we're always happy to offer these kind of services because it's what I've been doing for years as well. Before, when I was before Magenta, I was a teacher trainer, educational consultant, and I would travel around the country, and I would go and give trainings on different topics in different schools around the country. It meant that I was lucky enough to see a lot of Turkey. So it was a good job for me. I got to travel, meet new people, and see different places, and also to share ideas. That's what I think. If you have a teacher, a teacher is not a teacher if they're just in the classroom. They need to be influenced by others. They need to see others. I've been inspired by a lot of teachers that I've seen in Turkey. There's some amazing teachers that do some amazing things. When I go to visit them on these trainings and have a chat with them, and they tell me what they're doing, I'm oh, I need to write that down. That's very good. So yeah, we try to offer support because it's not just about ticking boxes. It's about kind of like sharing ideas as well. So it's good for all of us. Everyone wins from something like that.
I see. So you support them. You support them a lot. I can understand this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all the info about it. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a critical questions about Turkey. You've been living in Turkey for a long time. Okay, and my next is it's something about the education. You know that every country they have a lot of problems about educations, and people all the time say something about education, and we need to improve it. We need to change the system. We need to do like this, and we need to do that. As an educator or trainer, and as a person who has been living in Turkey for a long time, when you think about this education issue, if you had the chance to change one thing about education in Turkey, what would you change?
Only one thing. Okay. I need to have a drink of water before this one.
Sure.
Okay. For education in general or just English? Sorry, I missed that part.
If you want to talk about both, you can say in general education or English. It's up to you.
I think personally I should stick to English because I don't know that much about other
Okay,
subjects.
let's stick in English. You are right. It's better. Okay.
From my point of view, and it touches back on what I said earlier, looping back around to what I said earlier, is about what the aim is. You know, like the one thing I noticed about Turkey in general when it comes to English education, and not just Turkey, I'm sure lots of other countries have this same view, is that English is a subject that, like a lesson that can be taught in a formula kind of way, like maths, you know, like repetition and memorization.
Right.
Grammar structures, memorize this grammar structure and then take that information into a written test. And I don't agree with that. You know, I think that the approach, and I'm not unique in saying this, I think this has been said before by many teachers, trainers, publishers, lots of different people have said that we need to change the approach that, or reassess what our target is first. Is our target exam success? And if that's the case, then we go grammar. Okay, I'll hold my hands up and we'll just go grammar. We'll just go for IATEFL score, and because going way back to the beginning, my teaching career started in Korea, as I said, in 2008. And at the time, Korea was a closed country. In the 90s and the 2000s, Japan opened up. Japan culturally, socially, economically opened up in the 90s. Foreigners went in and they did a lot of trade, they did a lot of business, and Korea wanted to keep closed. It wanted to keep its culture untouched. And then they realized that they couldn't do business because they couldn't communicate. And when I first went there was this huge boom of they were taking in foreign teachers from all over, native teachers. There was a huge community of us, English, Americans, Canadians, South Africans even, and we're all there because there was just adverts everywhere, because they all realized that they had the highest IELTS score. They had these amazing scores, but they couldn't speak. They couldn't communicate. When they got into these business meetings with the other countries, they couldn't understand a word they were saying. And so they opened up and they said, okay, we need to stop focusing on this grammar approach. We need to look at the communication approach. And I think Turkey it needs to continue doing that, it needs to reassess it shouldn't be exam focused, it shouldn't be results focused, it shouldn't be grammar based. What's the purpose of learning English? English is a language. A language is something that we communicate with, so it's about communication. So that would be something I would change. It's a very difficult thing to change, but I'm setting the targets high today. So that would be the approach I would change.
That's nice. Thank you. Thank you very much about the idea you shared here with us. Thank you. You know, Sam, there are some times that about our jobs, we look for kind of a motivation, right? Something that motivates us to do the job or to do the other things. When you think about this, what motivates you at your work? Another important and critical question.
Yeah. What makes me turn on the computer in the morning? Yeah.
Exactly. Early in the morning.
It's a strange one. I would say for Magenta, and again I'm kind of advertising for Magenta, but it's a strange group. It's a different environment. It's a different company to work for, because that's the motivation, is that I can't think of a single time where I've woken up or I've had something to do and I think I don't want to do this, I can't be bothered. It's kind of like the way that the company is run motivates us naturally because we're all in it for each other. We're all involved with each other. So the team that I work with, amazing team, and they motivate me because I
Oh.
know that if I have, if I'm dropping slightly, I know that they'll lift me up, and if one of them is dropping, we'll lift each other up, and so motivation. It's things like that keeps us motivated. A good environment, I think, is the best way to motivate people. Obviously there's certain aspects as well that on a personal level for me, as I said earlier, when I see an old student, and it's that we've left a mark, that we've done something, that if I go to a school, and going back to the SDGs, if they're
Mhm.
using the globals, and there's projects in the globals where they're going out and they're making differences, they're organizing charity walks, they're writing to the local government to fix the infrastructure problems in the schools around the city. And when I go to the schools and I see these projects, and I think I was part of that. Like we laid the groundwork. The students went off and did it themselves. That's motivating as well to see an impact. So something that we've done, and to see that it's left a mark, it's going to leave a mark, and students will grow up with that, and they'll have that memory, and they'll make a change themselves. So that's motivation enough. Like that's a reward, I think, for all of us. And so it's a two-part kind of, like, it's the team that I work with, but also it's seeing that we can make a change and we can make a difference.
That's two things that were really important point about motivation. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing with us. And Sam, we are living in a technological era, and it's digital era, let's say, and it's not easy for us to follow a lot of things because there are a lot of things happening. Even right now, we are having this conversation. Maybe we can't imagine how many things are happening right now about technology. So when you think about this in education world, and how do you follow this technological improvements in education world? What can you suggest to the educators or audiences who listen to us right now?
Oh, it's very difficult for me personally. I'm remember when I first joined, I'm not great with technology. it's
So I'm sure that you have one thing or two things that they share with us. I'm doing this. You can also do this.
it's one of those things. I used to be good at technology, and then it changes so quickly, doesn't it? It's always moving, and before I know it, I've got no idea what's going on and what there is. Compared to when I was young, it was much easier to keep up to date with technology because it was so slow. Like Nintendo would have their Super Nintendo would come
Yes.
out. The Nintendo would come out, and then a few years later, Super Nintendo, and that was it. Or there was Sega. And then, there was none of these phones, and there's none of these AI and technology and things. So it was a lot simpler. I really sound old now, the way that I'm talking, but it's ever changing, and this is something that I think that our students are prepared for, and we help them prepare for it, and they help us as well when it comes to technology. It, for me, the way that I try to stay up to date is, obviously there is a big focus on AI at the moment,
Exactly.
but every week there's a new AI. AI can do something new, and it's always updating, and it's always developing. So that
It's amazing.
you can get left behind, can't you? It's like you close your eyes for a week, and then a week later everything has changed. Again, I'm
Definitely.
lucky that I try to follow seminars, as many as possible. There's a big focus on AI in a lot of the conferences and seminars now. That's kind of flooded it, but there are other seminars. There are research papers and things that I read as well online. Also, I'm lucky in terms of the Magenta team, our technology department, our developers. They're great. They know everything, and sometimes I'll go to them and just ask them what is new, what is this, how does it work, and they'll explain it to me, because they stay up to date. But I think, I don't know if it's an age or if it's just the generation, the period that we're in now, that it is constantly moving and constantly changing, and the speed to stay on top of it is very, very challenging.
Exactly. I see. I understand. And by the way, I was going to ask you the question about AI. Azra asked us, but I said I will ask the questions later. And now we're talking about AI, and so let me ask you the question if it's okay. But if you say I can answer it later, it's all fine. And Azra is asking how teachers can change theory to practice in their class by entrance of AI to in this field, sustainable development goals in education. Thanks. I think she's asking about AI and sustainable development goals.
Yeah.
How can we use both of them?
Yeah, it's a good question. With AI, there was a talk I gave, I think it was last year, and it was about the Sustainable Development Goals and how would a teacher start. And what most of the time, I think, when we have a question these days, a few years ago we would go to Google and we'd type it in there. And a lot of the times now we just go to AI, ChatGPT, and those kind of things, and we just type it. Or even sometimes we speak it into ChatGPT, ask the question, or we just take a picture of something and get an answer. When using AI for sustainable development goals, and I have tried this out of interest before, I imagined I was a teacher with no experience, and I wanted to introduce the SDGs into a class. It gives some ideas, but a lot of those ideas are limited. If we go to ChatGPT and say, I want to start SDG, ESD, it would often just give us project ideas, and we can't start at the end. So it doesn't give us a good way to start there. There is I've seen it. It's one of the ChatGPT add-ons. I'm using the wrong terminology, but it's one of the ones that you can search for and find. It is about sustainable development. It's by a teacher based in Turkey as well. It's Ajlan, and I forgot his surname. But again, if I can find this, maybe we can.
You mean Arslan? Selçuk Yusuf Arslan can be about AI? You mean, anyway.
He's a teacher, and I can't remember where he's based, but he's a teacher, and he does a lot for sustainable development in his school and his community. And he's created kind of like on ChatGPT, he's created the prompts and things for sustainable development. So teachers can go to that. Again, if I can find it, maybe we can share the link after. And
of course,
obviously I'm using the wrong terminology there when it comes to the add-on and stuff like that. But so that would be, like AI 6 months ago was a very broad thing, and now it's becoming more specialized. There's AI for everything these days. And so there is AI for SDG and ESD at the moment. It's becoming more and more prominent. My advice for that with AI in general as well is to be a bit selective as well with we have to take parts. I use AI. I do use it.
We all do.
Yeah. And sometimes I'll see some things and I'll think that's 100% AI. That's 100% ChatGPT. And there's no, there's something missing. There's some character missing. What I do, the way I do it, if I'm writing something, maybe I'll write it and then I'll put that into ChatGPT and I'll say, is this okay? Can you suggest improvements, small improvements? But it's still coming from me. It's using it as a proofreader, an editor almost. I think for teachers as well, we're worried about students doing it. We're worried about students doing writing pieces on ChatGPT, but I think teachers should be careful as well at times. Use it as a support, as a resource, not as something complete, because that's the important thing about being a teacher is that personality, that creativity, that we shouldn't be replaced by that. So we shouldn't let it replace us.
Mm-hmm. I totally
Yeah,
agree with you.
it's an amazing resource, and as I said, there are sustainable development goals support and things. There are lots of ways to find it on there.
Mm-hmm. I see. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas about the question of Azra. Thank you. Okay. So, the Sam, in our life, we all, you know, we all have role models, or there are people who inspire us about our life, or about our work, or about the things that we do. When you think about this,
Mm.
do you have any role models, or do you have any people who inspire you?
Ooh.
Yeah, for your life or for your work?
Yeah. Professionally,
Hard question. I know it's hard
it's,
question.
it's a very hard question. Yeah. Professionally, I've had role models. Yeah, I would like. I think everyone we have to have role models because but it's all about choosing who the role model is. As I've grown older, I try to have role models that like I'm probably more selective now as I'm older, and it would need to be someone who has done something good, who's tried to do something good, who's tried to make a difference.
Uh-huh.
Off the top of my head, I'm struggling to think of who I would say at the moment in the general world. I'm trying to think of like when I was younger, I obviously celebrity role models, and these days celebrity role models are a lot different than they were when I was a kid. And I always used to talk about Muhammad Ali, the
Yeah,
classic.
yeah, nice one.
That he was a guy that he made a difference, he left an impact, who stood up for his beliefs, and I used to talk about him in my classes as well. As this is he had his ideas, and that's what I was just saying, that I think it's always important to have a role model that stands for their beliefs, even if it means that they sacrifice themselves.
Exactly.
They end up losing out. Of course, that role models are always flawed characters as well. Everyone is. We all are. But I
Exactly.
I can't think of anyone now though. And just trying to think. As I said at the beginning, unfortunately, I didn't have a teacher role model. Like someone I really kind of like admired when I
Uh-huh.
was a kid. But I I had teachers that left marks, but sometimes physically. But uh, yeah,
Yeah, I got
I'm
it.
still searching
Uh-huh.
for a role model.
Mm-hmm. I see. I see. It's okay. It's not a problem. I got it. Thank you. And thank you very much, Sam. All right. The Sam, time flies, and
Oh,
when we don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but we just sometimes we make some guesses about the future. But when you think about your futures, like after 10 or 15 years later, how do
mm,
you see yourself? Will you still be a trainer, or will you try another job, or maybe jobs?
mm. Uh, oh, I don't
Hard,
know.
another hard
It
question. I
is.
know.
It is. You gave me the easy ones early, and
Yeah,
towards the
exactly.
end, you're throwing all the hard ones at me now. Uh, in 10 years, where would I be? This very very difficult because I think I'm the way I've lived my life is kind of all over the place. I've never really had a plan. I've done lots of things that I'm happy with, that I'm proud of. I've tried lots of things. There's my my I'm stumbling around now, and for what I'm about to say probably doesn't really suit the way I'm saying it. When I was at university, all of my life I've written. I always wanted to be a writer,
Oh, very
fiction, and
nice.
I I still try to do it. I'm not quite. I think I haven't got the patience. I also haven't got the belief. I've Whenever I write, and I think all of my life it was like this. I studied English literature and creative writing at university, and so when I would write something for university, I would always be hesitant about handing it in. I could never finish it. That was my problem. I have notebooks full of stuff. I could just never finish them. I'll go back to them after a couple of years and think, oh, I can improve this, I can improve this, before I try and do anything. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I would say I wanted to be a teacher, an English literature teacher or a writer. And since then, I've worked for a TV channel. I've written scripts for a sitcom. I did one series of a sitcom. I was the writer on that. It was a sitcom without comedy, I think. Looking back at it, it lacked some comedy. And also I've done I've worked for a newspaper as well for a short time, which is another thing I wanted to explore. And then obviously if you asked me 20 years ago, I would probably say I'll be an English literature teacher in England. And now here I am. So to say 10 years, it's very difficult. I have no idea. And
I'm sure.
I don't like saying, like, I don't like setting a target and saying this is what I'm going to do, because the adventure is finding our way where we're going and doing different things.
Oh, I
and
see.
Obviously, if you'd said to me 10 years ago, when I was a teacher, what will you be doing in 10 years? Will you be a teacher? And I think about the experience I've had and the things that I've lived in the last 10 years, professionally and personally, and
got it.
the way I've moved around. And if you said to me 10 years ago, would you be this project officer and would you be working for the global schools? I would never predict that. It wasn't my target, but it's something that I kind of stumble into these things, and then I end up with one where I'm really happy. And then, so in 10 years, I would hope just to be leaving a mark. That's what I'd say. In whatever way, leave a mark. Do something that impacts others for the better. That's what I would want.
I see. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sam. Thank you. All right. So, Sam, there are some difficult times we face in our life. Sometimes we want to deal or we want to solve it or cope with it, but we can't do it. So that when that comes and we think on our own and says, oh, I wish I could have a kind of a superpower so I could easily fix it or I could easily deal with the problem. But when you think this superpower for your classroom, if you could have one superpower to use it in the classroom, what would it be and how would it help?
Only in the classroom.
Yeah, you can use it for the classroom, but you can also tell us a kind of a superpower to use for your life. It's your choice.
There's that old slogan, the old saying. A school that I worked at years ago, for Teachers' Day, they printed the teacher. My superpower is I'm a teacher.
Yeah. What is your superpower? Yeah.
I would say if I had a superpower for the classroom, it would be something simple, I guess, like empathy. Empathy is not really a superpower, but to immediately be able to read someone and understand someone. I think these are reasonable superpowers, not the kind of like Marvel universe kind of superpowers. And I think that's what you wanted, but I'm going to go away from that for the emotional side.
That's one. That's also cool. No problem. Superpower is superpower, not a problem. That's your superpower. And
energy as well. Energy as a teacher, energy.
Yeah, that's also
a battery that never goes out of charge.
Yeah, full of energy, never-ending energy. We can say that. That's also nice because we need it as a teacher. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Sam, you think that would finish our conversation, okay? And you step outside your home and find a lottery ticket that ends up winning $100 million. It's a huge amount of money. What would you do? Please be honest, okay? Tell us, what would you do?
Oh.
I know, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to have to give one of those cheesy, corny answers, one of those classic answers. I would. Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think. What would I do? I think I would. Hmm, I've always liked to travel. Like all of my life has been about travel. So uh, when from a young age, I've always travelled. I was lucky that my parents both worked in the travel industry, so I got to see a large part of the world from a young age. And uh,
Hmm.
because of that, I think that's impacted me who I am now. Because from a young age, I was able to see other cultures, other countries, other people, and so I would like to continue that. You know, I try as often. I've got two kids, twins, 9 years old now,
Wow,
and
perfect.
we probably try too much to give them too much, and we try to let them see as much of the world as possible. So I would like to do something like that. But then at the same time, if it's $100 million, is that enough to do something where I could set up some kind of organization?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
and with something with that kind of aim where we could have cultural exchange, kind of travel with that, I think I might be making a new business idea on the spot. I'll go from this to Dragon's Den and see if I can get funding for this. But yeah, I think I would like to do something. Obviously, there's the, if I found $100 million, there will be the things that I would do for myself. You know, like the things around the house, and you know, the checklists of stuff that everyone would do. Uh, but you know, then I would try to think about experiences more than material. That
I see. I got. Thank you. Thank you very much for your ideas about the $100 million. Great. All right.
very good
Now,
question. Very good.
all right. So the time flies, and now I'm gonna ask you my last question, and which is the hardest one, I think. Yes, ready for it?
Mhm.
Okay. What is your motto? Yeah.
oh, always. I'm trying to stay away. It's all cliches that jump into my head. Things that I don't know. It's one that it is a cliche, but I do like it, and I'm going to use it. And I'm sorry that it's been overused.
No
And
problem.
you've done 200 of the, or well, you've nearly done 200 of these. I think we're right at the end, so we can say that you've done 200 of these. And it's going to be very difficult to say something you haven't heard before. So my motto, it will be something about yeah. Okay, I've got it. I'm trying to put it into nice words. I have this belief that we, when we're learning, when we talk about learning, we think automatically of school. We think about school and then university, and then we stop learning. We go out into the world, we live, we work, we have a family, we see grandchildren if we're lucky, and then it's
Yes.
finished. So learning is the first quarter of our life. For me, it's about, I have this belief that we never stop learning. So that would be my motto. And I don't know if you have heard this one before on any of the other episodes, but never stop learning. I try to do as much as I can. At the moment, I'm doing a course online through the Open University in the UK, and I'm
Wonderful.
teaching, or I'm learning ancient Greek. And
Oh,
uh, there's no reason. I just saw the course and I thought it said how many hours it takes, and I thought, oh, I'd like to do that. That sounds fun, and it will serve me no purpose to know this, and I can read the basic alphabet. It serves me no purpose, but it makes me happy, and that I think that we should always continue learning. So that
I
no.
see. I got it. Thank you. Thank you very much for your motto. Thank you, Sam. Okay. I'll ask all my questions then. So, that before ending our 200th session, would you like to add anything else, or do you have any suggestions to our audiences, or would you like to say something? I don't know.
Uh, well, firstly, to you, Volkan, thank you for having me. It's a
That's my
privilege to
pleasure.
be here for your 200th, and again, congratulations on 200. It's a big achievement. It's what you're doing is great, I think,
Thank you.
and thank you for inviting me. For anyone watching, for anyone that has any questions, I've told as much as I can. If anyone does want to ask anything, if there's anything that I've missed, or if there was any follow-up, if anyone wants to know anything about Magenta or the Globals or the Global School Program, or just anything, if anyone wants to share ideas about education, then I'm always happy. And I'm easy to find on LinkedIn and things like that. So I'm always happy to continue the conversation, and I'm delighted again to have been invited here, and thank you so much for giving me the chance to talk and go on probably too much, but thank you.
Yeah, it's no problem. The pleasure is mine, Sam. We're really happy to have you here. Okay, and before ending again, one more time, I would like to say thank you very much for your ideas, for your suggestions, and for your advice, and especially, which is really important for all of us, your time, your precious time. You spend your time here with us. That was awesome for all of us. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. So Sam Whittam was with us tonight for our 200 sessions. We had a very fruitful session with him. We talked a lot about the different topics. And as you know that we are going to be here next week at the same time on the same day, every Monday at 9 p.m. for Turkiye time. So until that time, wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And please take care of yourselves and take care of yourself, Sam. And bye bye, everybody, and peace.